From the heart of Wayne County, this is Wayne Goldsboro Television, Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Good morning. It is October 17th, 2013. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best. Good Thursday morning. Glad to have you with us.
This is WGTV, Wayne Goldsboro Television, and today is...
Yes, Thursday.
It is Thursday, isn't it?
All day long.
Okay, yeah, the 17th of October.
Mm-hmm.
And what a great show we have lined up for you today. And here it is, the day before the beginning of the weekend, and I'm all excited because the weekend's going to be great.
Oh, we have just lots and lots to do. Hope you're going to get out and about and participate in some of these community activities.
And I'll tell you something. Anybody who says, you know, there's just nothing to do around here, they haven't looked. If you're saying that, you haven't looked, because there's so many things going on.
There's so much you're not going to be able to do it all, even if you tried.
You can't do it all. That's right. We've got the Chili Challenge coming up.
That's
We've got
right.
So many things
Fall
happening.
Festival, haunted trails, the list goes on and on.
On and on.
We'll give you some details on those.
Today's the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
What?
Well, you know, I get all excited about St. Patrick's Day, so I just thought I'd throw it out. So the 17th of each month, we should celebrate.
You think?
Well, why not? I mean, really, why not?
Oh, my goodness. Well, you remember we've got the big fall gumbo going on, which means we're talking about jazz.
Oh, yeah.
Jazz
Oh, yeah,
all month of October.
Cool.
The Arts Council of Wayne County, the DGDC, the list goes on and on. These groups are coming together and really supporting our community's knowledge of jazz music and the availability of it to you.
Cool.
Don't forget Jazz on George, October the 26th, Saturday, from 1 until 6. It's a free event to be taking place in the parking lot, or not parking lot, the corner lot.
Corner lot.
Right there on George Street here in the city. The DGDC and Arts Council, they host this outdoor concert featuring local jazz musicians. There'll be children's activities, delicious food, cold drinks. Hennett Farms will be there, and vineyards with some wine for those who are interested in tasting their different variety of wines. And it's just such a nice free event happening right here in your community. Wonderful jazz music. Come on out and join us October 26th.
That's going to be great. And the night before that, on October 25th, Lynn Trefsker is going to be at the Paramount Theater. Lynn Trefsker is a comedian of the highest quality. She offers family humor, funny stuff, because there's not much of anything is funnier than things that happen in your family.
You're exactly right.
Think about it. But she is a ventriloquist and quite the entertainer. So she will be at the Paramount Theater, Lynn Trefsker, the evening of the 25th of October. Everything gets underway, I believe, at 7:30 p.m. Get there early and get a good seat. All right.
You can get your tickets online.
Get your tickets online at GoldsBoroParamount.com. GoldsBoroParamount.com. Tickets for adults are only $20. Tickets for students, seniors, and military are only $15, I believe, and a family 4-pack for $60. And that's a good deal as well. But that's coming up on October 25th. That's a Friday evening at the
And the
Paramount
night
Theater.
of, you can actually get some tickets in the box office if there's tickets still available.
If they're still available.
That's right.
Box office. Yeah.
Well, the 19th, this Saturday, at Herman Park Center is their annual Fall Festival. Come on out and join them. It's $5 and listen to what all you get to do. There'll be carnival games. There'll be bouncy houses for the young children. Food, music, and laser tag.
Laser
tag. I know.
Hey.
That's a new one for their Fall Festival. They always have a new twist. Last year it was the Hay Maze. This year it's laser tag. So come on out and join them this Saturday from 12 until 5 on the front lawn of Herman Park Center. And then that very next weekend, October 25th and 26th, Haunted Trails.
Haunted Trails.
That's right. Goldsboro Parks and Recreation will be hosting a haunted trail. It'll be on the Stony Creek Bike Trail behind the bike shop and Lantern Inn. You can get tickets at GOLDSBOROParksandRec.com if you want to be a part of the Haunted Trail on the 25th and 26th of October.
I think one of the greatest and most recognized voices ever in the entertainment industry was that of Boris Karloff, who did all those scary movies.
Oh, yes.
He had that rich, deep voice. He did.
Oh, yeah.
And and I mentioned a couple things about him before, but you know, he was the voice of the movie, the made-for-TV movie, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Ah, okay.
He was the voice, the narrator, if you will, and the guy that sang the song, "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch."
Was that him?
No, that was not.
Okay.
That was not Boris Karloff. That was a guy by the name of Thurl Ravenscroft.
How do you know these little trivial
I
things?
have no idea. I'll make a lot of it up. Anyway,
I know you
Thurl
don't.
Ravenscroft was the guy that did Tony the Tiger. Not Tony the Tiger. Kellogg's Tiger. Tony, what's it?
Yeah, that's Tony the Tiger.
Tony?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're great.
You're great.
That's right.
That was Thurl Ravenscroft, who did You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Just a little tie-in, little information there.
Just so you know.
Just so you know, a little trivial information there for
That's
you.
right.
Okay.
We want you to come out and participate in Community Soup Kitchen of Goldsboro's
Yes.
Chili Cook-Off.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I'll tell you.
Saturday, October the 26th, in the parking lot where the Center Street jams are held, 132 South Center Street. Come on out. You can do one of two things. You can have a team, $75 for a team. You come out and see if you can cook the very best chili in Goldsboro, set up a booth, or if you just want to come and test the chili, pay $5, test everybody's chili, and you get to vote for People's Choice Award of who you think has the very best chili in all of Goldsboro.
Exactly right.
All the proceeds go for the Community Soup Kitchen of
That's
Goldsboro.
on the 26th.
From 11 till 2. I guess it's 11.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. Let's go on to our interviews
All
now,
right.
so stay with us.
Good.
If you haven't met the City of Goldsboro's Public Works Director, his name is Jose Martinez. He's been coming on the show on a regular basis, and we'd love for you to find out more about his department and what's happening with the City of Goldsboro. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much.
So you've got a new program that you've been implementing. Tell me a bit about that program.
Okay, a little bit of my history. I'm an NC State fan, so I naturally called this the Leader of the Pack program.
Of course you did.
Of course. There's no blockbusters or no wolves or anything, but what it is, it's a way to thank the unsung heroes of the city, the people that make the city go, the people that do their job, and you don't really know some unless they don't do their job. So it's a way of giving them thanks. So anytime we get an unsolicited compliment, i.e. if somebody does something very well and they call up just to say, you know, so-and-so did something very well with the sewer, with the garbage. I forgot to put the garbage out and they came back and got it.
Oh,
and
wow.
and anything like that. If
Above and beyond.
Above and beyond, that's exactly it. So if they do something above and beyond and we get a compliment about it, we give them a certificate. We put that certificate in their personal record permanently.
Right.
Second is once a quarter, we draw 4 names out. And those 4 names get something. It varies on what we can give them.
Okay.
I would love to thank Paramount Theaters. They gave a couple tickets, so that's fantastic. The golf course is giving some free rounds.
Nice.
Something that just as small as we gave them parking right up front, reserved parking.
Oh, that's always special.
So it's very no-cost things that are just
Just a pat on
intended
the back saying thank you.
to say thank you and hopefully increase morale a little bit, and then show these guys that we appreciate what they're doing.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
So we can actually, my request is if they do anything, if somebody in the Public Works Department does anything for you and you're really appreciative, please just let us know.
So how would they do that? Would they give you a call?
They can give us a call, give us an email, and you don't even need to know who did it. All you have to do is say sanitation route, this is where I live, and we can figure out who that is.
Wonderful. Give him your phone number if you will.
Well, don't know my
not
direct
your
number.
phone number, but how about to the Public Works? Do you know that right offhand?
Not off, I never call it.
Remember, he doesn't call his own department. How about that? How about, let's see, an email address that they can reach?
You can email me directly at jmartinez@goldsboronc.gov.
There you go. Perfect. And you can call the main number to the City of Goldsboro. We can get you there. That's 919-580-4363 or 4330, either one of those numbers. And just say you'd like to speak with someone in Public Works, and we can get you there.
I appreciate that.
Well, tell me more about what some other things that are happening, and Public Works is overseeing some of these projects.
Okay. Well, one of the things that you may see within the next week or two is that we got approval from NC DOT, and as well as the council to start replacing some of the rusted fencing along Highway 70. But instead of just replacing it with new fencing, what we have is had an agreement to replace it with sort of something that looks like right-of-way monuments. These are called controlled access monuments.
Controlled access monuments.
Right,
okay.
and I think there's well, I brought an example, but see if he turns it in. But what these are, this is just the top 6 inches of one of these monuments. These monuments are about 30 inches, so about 2.5 feet or so will be buried. So you won't see it. So this is all you'll see, and you'll see one about every 80, 85 feet. So
along where the fence was.
We're going to take those fence posts up, and about every 10 fence posts, you'll see one of these. And the intent is, unless you're looking for them, you'll never see them.
Okay.
And the reason for doing this is it's just a beautification project. These monuments, we're building them in-house, and they cost just under $10 per monument. So it's going to end up costing about $300 to $400 for the first section.
Okay. And this is along 70.
This is along 70 all throughout Goldsboro, but however, City Council gave us a pilot okay to go ahead. The pilot program is going to be between Wayne Memorial Park, or Wayne Memorial Drive, and Williams along Highway 70 on both the eastbound and westbound lanes. So you'll see us there in the next couple of weeks taking down the fence and putting these up.
Wonderful. And it's not necessarily to block vehicles, is that correct?
That's correct. And this was a surprise when I first started looking at this. As you know, I'm relatively new to the city, and one of my first impressions, unfortunately, was of that fence.
Right.
I saw it coming in, and I was like, that's not the most attractive thing. And I started asking questions about it, and it's been one of those things that people have been here for so long, they've never asked.
Don't even see it.
Don't even see it anymore, but visitors do.
Right.
And I contacted DOT and asked if we could change it, and they said, well, let me do some research. So the fence that's there is not for protection. What the fence is there for is controlled access, and that's what the CA on the block is. What that means is if there's an owner on the other side of the road, they won't go to NCDOT and ask to put a connection street in. So they're controlling it, controlling the access. And some people might say, well, what about cars? And the fence, well, the fences are there. If you drive through 70, you'll see some nice shiny areas of the fence. That's where cars went through it. So the fence,
it obviously doesn't stop cars either, and it's not meant to.
Exactly. All the fencing that's there is controlled access to stop people from requesting connection.
Thank you for clarifying that and helping us understand some of the things that we may be seeing, activity we may be seeing on Highway 70, especially in this pilot program. If it goes well, then we'll move a little bit further.
Absolutely.
And take care of other unsightly fences and things such as that throughout our community, trying to beautify it and keep Goldsboro looking as good as it possibly can.
Absolutely.
Well, don't forget, Jose is very interested in hearing great things that are happening through his department. He's also interested in hearing if things aren't quite so great. If any of his staff from the whole Public Works Department is out and about and you have a compliment or a complaint, we have survey cards throughout the city of Goldsboro, for you can complete those and turn them back in, or you can just give us a call or email. We want to hear from you about how we can continue to have fantastic services offered to you and how we can make sure that our staff continues to do the very best for our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jose, for being with us today, and thank you for listening. This is with the City of Goldsboro, and this is what's happening.
Your source for what's happening in your community is Wayne Goldsboro Television.
We're always pleased to have Dr. Stephen Peters in the studio with us. Dr. Peters is the head of psychiatry at Cherry Hospital.
Psychology, Wayne.
I beg your
Psychology.
pardon. All right.
The number one question, what's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist?
You know, I'm glad you asked that because I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Please enlighten me.
Well, a psychologist is really, has graduate training in mental health services, therapy, assessment. Psychologists do a lot of psychological testing, a lot of psychological evaluation work.
Okay.
A psychiatrist has been to medical school and then has a residency, fellowships on medicating and treating psychiatric disorders. So it's a good partnership. We do the assessment, a lot of assessment, kind of really try to help. Some of these disorders are so close together. We try to help that differential diagnosis, as we call it, and then offer some talking therapy while the psychiatrist is there offering some very effective medication support and help manage some of these more difficult symptoms.
Okay.
And so it's a good team that way.
Good.
But we often get that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
They're the same.
And I'm not sure I'll not mention it again.
That's right. Well, it's about the same thing. We all kind of try to help people.
I know, and you're very, very generous about overlooking my shortcomings in that regard.
No worry.
All right.
Actually, it's a good thing to talk about.
All right, number one, and totally aside from everything,
Yeah.
and you didn't know I was going to mention this, but the good doctor is also a musician. And
Play a little fiddle,
I
a
was,
little guitar.
I was fortunate enough to see you and your band as they played at the recent event to help raise funds for the town hall restoration.
It was a packed house.
Man, it was.
Now, that was the old Presbyterian
Yeah,
church back in the day.
Yeah, one of the oldest, if not the oldest buildings in still standing in Wayne County.
It's going to be exciting to see that building really be brought up to where it needs to be,
Certainly
and hope
is.
that people use it well.
And I must say, I did enjoy your organization. You guys are very talented.
Well, thank you.
Very
It's a lot of
talented.
fun, is what it is.
Yeah, and
A
I
lot of
think
fun.
the story behind your fiddling is interesting, and perhaps we'll go into that
Yeah,
sometime.
yeah, someday.
It's an interesting story.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, it's a recent. I've
Okay.
been playing guitar since I was pretty young, and played with some fellows over in Selma, and played with an older gentleman who had fiddle, who played fiddle, and unfortunately died a couple years back, and we were sort of missing a fiddle player in the group, and it's like, well, maybe I should, maybe I could
Well,
do that.
why not?
Why not?
Sure.
But it's a challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's one of the tougher instruments to get a sound out of, let alone something musical. But it's been a lot of fun.
Well, you're doing quite well with it, I must
thank you.
say. And I was surprised that you've only been playing such a short
couple,
while.
couple years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did quite well, and the band is very good, very impressive, and I know you guys have a great time.
Yeah, we do indeed.
Turning to matters of a more serious nature, I want to ask you, in the news of late, of course, the mass shootings, the mass killings, and you keep hearing and continue to hear, this time around, I feel, I have heard after the most recent shooting, that there seems to be the term mental illness. You hear more of this now than I have heard in the past.
Sure.
Tell us, how does this happen? How does, first of all, someone in such a position get clearance? Are they not discovered? Do they not have therapy? Do they not? What's going on?
Yeah,
What happened?
it's an important topic to discuss, that's for sure. So a real good thing for us to discuss. You know, I think for so many of these more serious, severe mental disturbances, the onset is very slow, very progressive, very insidious, as we say. And so it could be very gradual. So someone who was very functional in his day, these folks are typically able to get clearances, able to function in whatever role. And then as the curve kind of takes them over, they're not who they once were. And the disorder has kind of taken over. It's not, add some stress to it, some situational stress, whatever life circumstances that most of us have to endure. Those stresses can kind of then push the person over, and now we have a kind of a full, wide open disorder that results in some kind of tragic outcome.
He heard voices.
Yeah. So auditory hallucinations.
Auditory hallucinations.
Yes.
So instead of seeing a hallucination,
Yeah,
he's actually hearing it.
Yeah, yeah. And auditory hallucinations are far more common. It's actually rare in mental illness to have visual hallucinations. Now, if you're drinking too much and you're kind of actually in detoxing, you have a visual hallucination, seeing the pink elephants and whatever on the wall. That's kind of a substance abuse issue, really, far more than we see in mental illness. It can happen for folks who are mentally ill, but it's really pretty rare.
Yeah.
Auditory hallucinations, hearing things that aren't there, now that's actually very common with more serious mental illness.
Not only have I heard of it, but I have experienced someone with that
Sure.
that condition, and
Sure.
it's they honestly really hear things.
Oh, they do.
They
It's
hear these things.
And sometimes talking about this symptom, it's when we think to ourselves, well, do you hear yourself thinking to yourself? So it's a matter of word choice when we're asking about this, because it's like, well, I'm thinking about something, and that's not really a voice. That's just my own thoughts that I can kind of tell.
Yeah.
But this is explained and described as really as if someone else is talking to you.
Standing in right next to you.
Yeah, right there. And you cannot touch it. It's like, is it live or is it Memorex?
Yeah.
You can't tell. It sounds like there's somebody there talking to me.
All right. Does it sound like, do they say it sounds like their own voice, or
It typically not.
it's somebody else? Could be a female to a male?
It could be anything. Sometimes it's different people. Often it's not well defined. It's kind of vague. Can't really tell. Kind of in a whisper, or it's just kind of a word or two. Rarely is it a real conversation, and you know, as like we're talking. It's not like that. Typically, it might just be a word, or a word that keeps getting repeated, maybe.
But
or a small phrase, maybe.
But it's very real.
Very, very real.
Very real to them.
Enough that you can't differentiate it from any other voice. It would be just like anybody else talking to you.
So people who dismiss this as, oh, you're just imagining things. That's not right. They're not imagining it. This is really happening to them.
Yeah, the same nerve impulses that your ear triggers when you're actually having an auditory signal. Those signals are going off without the auditory signal, though. That's what it is. Okay. So it's the same thing.
So why do people have problems understanding that when the body is ill, the body has a disease, the body is sick, the brain also can have a disease, the brain can be sick?
Sure.
Well. Why do we have a problem understanding that?
Well, there is a lot of, you know, if you've got a broken leg, I mean, it shows up on x-ray, we can see that your leg is broken, and then of course we know how to mend that. When you have a psychiatric disorder, and it's how you feel, it's how you're thinking, only the person inside knows what that's really like. They can explain it, can share it, and we can try to understand it and kind of follow along and see if we can comprehend what is it they're going through, but nobody else can see it. And then with people being what we are, there's a variety of personalities and normal fluctuation. Some people are pretty ambitious and driven. Some folks are not so ambitious and not so driven. And so somebody that perhaps is not so ambitious, not so driven, not so focused, well, is that depression? Is that just being lazy? Is it just something that, you know, some other character flaw perhaps? So it's easy to confuse a real genuine clinical depression, the lethargy, the low mood, can't concentrate, can't focus, as well, he just doesn't want to. He could, I remember when he used to be able to, but he just doesn't want to anymore. Well, it's not that he doesn't want to, he can't. But it's hard to pick up on that subtle difference, because there's sometimes some overlap.
Do these things take time, or it just doesn't happen overnight?
Mostly it does come on very gradual. Some things come on fairly quickly, quite frankly. But most of it is very slow, very insidious, very gradual.
Yeah, so that's why it would seem that people are changing. Instead of they have an illness, they seem to be just changing and kicking back and relaxing a little bit, or they've suddenly become quiet. They just don't want to do anything.
Right. And so often we're talking about, was there a recent dramatic change? I mean, that's what you really want to look out for. Or is this the way the person's always been? Well, they've always been kind of quiet and to themselves. Well, and versus, well, they used to be really outgoing, have friends, be very social, and over the last year or so, now it looks like they kind of keep to themselves, stay in their room, really aren't getting out much, don't really talk to people. That's a pretty big shift from who that person is, and that should get somebody's attention.
Getting back to the person who is having either a breakdown or a mental illness or a condition of some sorts affecting them, and they're hearing these voices. If you see someone or someone in your family, in fact, is going through this, what should you say to them, or what should you do? You shouldn't come right out and say, "Look."
Not to confront that person about it, though that's not true. Don't deny it. Don't get in an argument about it. Don't get confrontational about it. Can't talk them out of it. It's not something that's a part of the conversation. But to get some professional help, for most people, that's their family physician. And we always talk about the importance of having a good, available primary care physician. A lot of folks, it's like, well, I don't really go to the doctor that much, and if I get down on something, then I'll go find a doctor that'll take me in when I get sick. But if I'm not sick, I really don't need to be seen by all these checkups and such.
Yeah.
Well, you probably, first of all, for your physical health, you do need some good checkups, and you need to watch your health and monitor for some other conditions that might be catching up with you. But then to have that primary care physician that you can talk to about your concerns about a loved one or somebody in the family, and then let them guide you. Well, listen, I want you to call so-and-so. I want you to do this. And they're the ones that really can, for most of these conditions, is where people start. Yeah. And it's really what's most available. Now we're having a hard time, seems like, having good available mental health centers.
Yes.
We're sort of, even nationally, it's not just the state of North Carolina. It's a common problem throughout our country right now, having the availability of experienced, competent, professional level mental health folks who people can't access. That's hard to come by.
Why is that? Is it you keep hearing you keep hearing? Well, we're just going to stop funding.
Right,
We're going to close that hospital,
Yeah.
or we're going to reduce staff, or we're
Sure.
going to do this, that, or the other. Why is it? And what are they trying to accomplish?
Well, I think as we've hit this kind of economic bump in the road, there are so many there's a limited number of tax dollars to go around, and even our health care for other health care is skyrocketing. I think as everybody knows, if you've been to a physician or any kind of health care lately. And then it comes down to some tough decisions. Do you want your highways fixed, or do you want to have a mental health center? Well, a mental health center serves a lot of people, and it's pretty critical, but almost everybody drives on the highway.
That's right.
And so those are some tough decisions to make on how we want to spend our money. On the other hand, these are some necessary requirements. If you do not provide the service, as people get more disturbed and more ill, and they're underserved, tragic things will happen.
They will continue to happen.
It's going to. I think that would be my prediction until we decide, well, we need to allocate some funds back to these services.
How do you, or is it inevitable, how do you maintain or how do you achieve a healthy brain? Can you do that? Is that possible?
Well, there are a few things that the research tells us to do.
All right.
Stay involved with people, not to get too isolated, and well, yeah, some of us like to just sort of, I'm not talking about, I like to get out alone out in the woods and sort of nature and retreat a bit, but to have relationships with people, and that there's a stimulation value, it's exercise. Exercising your brain, we kind of kid each other when you've got talking about your brain as a muscle, and just nothing more than a muscle.
Right.
But the brain's pretty complicated, and but it has to have exercise. Learning something new, and so through school age, of course, we're constantly learning something new. But even as we get older and we kind of think we know it all, well, still learn something new. Learn to play the fiddle. You want to exercise your brain.
Yeah.
To me, it really is a wonderful example. There's a lot of motor coordination.
Yeah.
You're listening. You're integrating senses. There's a lot of stimulation value to learning to play a musical instrument. We use the example of someone who likes to go fishing. Well, teach them how to go fly fishing. Fly fishing requires another skill set that you kind of have to learn, and there's a learning curve to learning how to do fly fishing. For the ladies, some other kind of handicraft that might appeal to them. There's something to it, but they can master it. Master a new craft is really good brain exercise.
We're almost out of time, but I must ask. There may be people, and I understand exactly what you're saying, but there may be people who just don't have the patience for something like that. How do you maintain, or how do you get, or become patient enough to be able to fly fish or play the fiddle or play a musical instrument?
Finding something that then fits that personality, fits that person. So something that's more readily, something they can accomplish quickly. And whether that's reading a book or just going out with friends to a movie then. but something different. Well, I haven't been in 10 years. Well, maybe that's a good thing to go do. If you could find one worth watching, that is.
Yeah, right.
But theoretically, that could be out there, right?
Good point, right.
Yeah,
It could be out there.
It could be out there. But to find something, get together with one of our social clubs or civic organizations, or if you're a veteran, find a veterans group.
Right.
And go talk about those times when you served in the military or whatever vocation you might have been involved in. Find people like that you can share with.
Something to stimulate your mind.
And it's mental exercise.
Mental exercise.
Yes.
All right. Something to think about.
It is indeed.
All right. Dr. Steve Peters, thank you so much for being with us. And
Always good to be here.
Good to see you. Dr. Peters is with us on a regular basis,
Yes.
and I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
We're back, and it's October 17th still, same as it was a little while ago, right?
Certainly is.
All right, October 17th, 2013, and great interviews there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
Remind
Okay.
you, Monday night, City Council meeting, 5 o'clock.
That's right.
We'll be in the large conference room. That's our work session. And then at 7 o'clock will be our regularly scheduled meeting in the City Council chambers. Love to have you come and join us.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the City Council meets the first and third Monday of each month, and the County Commissioners meet the first and third Tuesday of each month. Now, the council meeting is in the evening, and the County Commissioners meet during the morning hours.
That's right.
And we would love for you to attend these meetings. A lot of people, I hear people say, you know, well, I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about these
Come
guys.
see.
I wish they'd opened this up to the public. Well, it's open to the public.
It certainly is.
You really need to attend these meetings because a lot of times they affect things that may be going on in your neighborhood.
But if you can't come out, they will be videotaped, and so you can see them on the city and the county's YouTube channels and Vimeo channels. Just go to our websites. The icons are right there. You can click on it, and it'll take you straight to all these videos that we do.
That's exactly right. Now, to get to the county site, you can go to waynegov.com. That's waynegov.com. And on the right side of that page, you'll see a link to the YouTube channel. We have a channel. And you click on that link, and it'll take you right there. And you can see, in fact, you can see everything we've ever done.
That's right. Same thing for the city. You can go to goldsboronc.gov. That's goldsboronc.gov. There's icons, one for YouTube and Facebook and all the other social media sites. Click on those, and if you go to the YouTube site, you'll see all the city council meetings, and there's also the Vimeo channel that we have, and it has the city council meetings as well.
That is exactly right. Well,
all right.
did you
What is
know?
happening? Yes.
Well, it's all about bones. Bones.
Do I have a bone to pick with you?
Yeah, well, let's see. The human skeleton now makes up about 18% of your body weight.
Okay.
18%. That's about, for the average person, about 32 pounds.
Okay.
In bones now.
Fun fact of the day.
And your skeleton, pardon me, can support 5 times as much pressure as a steel bar.
Wow.
5 times the pressure of a steel bar with the same dimensions. Frequently used bones, such as the femur in a runner, or the arm bones in a tennis player, can support up to 8 times as much pressure as a steel bar with the same dimensions. So,
Wow.
so when you hear about someone who broke a bone or something, you know that was a lot of pressure being applied. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Another fact,
Don't
just
make-
so you know.
That's right.
We always want to make sure we learn something each day, and I just learned about your skeleton
Okay,
and how it takes up. How much did you tell me? Remind me one more time.
5 times a steel bar, and for an athlete, it could take up to 8
But
times.
32 pounds is about what our skeleton weighs.
My skeleton weighs about 31.
Mine's 32.
Okay. Is it?
Just so
Okay.
you know. What else is happening?
Well,
Young Frankenstein, remember?
Young Frankenstein.
The
That's
movie
right.
Young
Yeah.
Frankenstein on Thursday, October the 31st.
That is a very funny movie.
It'll be at the Paramount
It
Theater
is.
for you to see for yourself.
It's hilarious. Gene Wilder and a supporting cast.
And Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks is so funny.
That starts at 7 o'clock p.m. Come on out and join us for the movie on the big screen, Paramount Theater. You can get tickets. They're $5. The movie is rated PG. Come on out and watch Young Frankenstein at the Paramount Theater. That's all a part of their movie nights. Movie nights.
Here we go.
That's right.
Here we go again.
Well, I believe that may be a wrap for today, Mr. Alley.
Okay, so that means if we're done with today, that means you're going to have to hang around and wait for the 18th to roll along, because we'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. No, we won't.
Our guest will be, our guest host.
That's right, tomorrow's Friday.
That's right.
Tomorrow's Friday, the 18th, and that means that Donald Sutton and Krista will be
filling in for us.
Sure.
That's right.
And we'll be back Monday, I guess.
That's
But,
exactly
tune in
right.
tomorrow for Donald and Krista. They will bring you a lot of good information in tomorrow's program. All right, so until Monday, we'll be back at that time. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best, and this is what's happening in your community.